The first thing that strikes you when you journey into the more rural parts of Ethiopia is how breathtakingly beautiful it really is. It's a striking contrast from the dusty, dry images of that drought-stricken wasteland that I had lodged in my mind from 20 years ago. My journey to Western Abaya takes me through Humbo, a valley that was the location of a feeding centre in 1984 and is now benefiting from being part of a long-term development project. Up until only a few years ago, members of the community, nearly always mothers and daughters, had no option but to walk miles, sometimes a 6-hour round trip to collect unclean water. But now, thanks to a capped spring and a newly built reservoir, fresh, clean water is being piped directly into the villages for the community to use. For the very first time, families have safe, clean water to drink and wash in. Where there was once a dry and arid landscape, farmers are now pioneering new irrigation techniques such as micro-flooding and canal irrigation systems, which are now yielding healthy crops. One farmer who's been part of a similar development programme run by World Vision in nearby Western Abaya is Mekanon Molla. I asked Mekanon, with the help of my translator, how he was affected by the 1984 famine.
እንግዲህ በ1977 ብዙ ሰዎች ቦታውን ጥሎ እስከመሸሽ ደርሷል። እኔ እንግዲህ በእርግጥ ሞት በቤቴ ላይ አልደረሰብኝም። በረሃብ ከሆነ በጣም ተጎድቻለሁ። ሌላው ደግሞ ከዛ እንግዲህ አካባቢው አመቺ ስላልነበረ መንግስት ከዛ ቦታ ከህብረተሰቡ ጋር እንድንቀላቀል ያ ሀይቅ ዳር ስለነበር ወደዚህ አሰፈረን በመንደር ምስረታ።
Now you've got this wonderful farming area around you here. Was it like this when you first moved here?
መሬቱ እንደዛ አልነበረ። ምንም ሜዳ ነው። ምንም ነገር አልነበረም። እኔ ነኝ ያለማሁት ወይም ሌሎች ሰዎች ደግሞ የየራሳቸውን አልምተዋል። ክቡር ልብጅን እንግዲህ የአትክልት አይነትን ልቅጠር ወይስ
ያገኘው ነው?
ያገኘሁት ይኸው ማንጎን ታያላችሁ፣ ባህር ዛፍ፣ አቮካዶ፣ ዘይቶን፣ ሌላው እንግዲህ ከህዝቡ ጋር የማገኘው እርዳታ ነው። በጣም ከፍተኛ ለውጥ አምጥተዋል። ምክንያቱም ሰው የራሱን ኑሮ ያውቃል። ኑሮ እንደዛ አልነበረም። ባህር ዛፍ በቆላማ አካባቢ ይሻይልም አይበቅልም ይሉ ስለነበር ታገልኩ። በጣም ታግዬ የወርልድ ቪዥን ሰራተኛ ነበር። በጣም ተባበረኝ።
I'm on my way to Degabarena to visit a nursery that was set up by World Vision to cultivate apples. Now you might think it's rather strange that apples grow up in the highlands, but they grow here because the climate's really, really good. And most importantly for the farmers, it's a highly profitable cash crop, which means that they can distribute them and use the money that they get to support their families. The road to the Highland Apple Nursery takes in some of the most beautiful scenery in Western Abaya. It's clear to see the impact a good rainy season and effective irrigation has had on the countryside. And the people we pass on the way are definitely some of the friendliest. So this is the field of seedlings. How many do you reckon are here?
Yeah, this is apple seedling, which is apple nursery, which is established by World Vision, Maraba project. and we have around 2,500 to 3,000 apple seedlings in this compound.
What's this that's coming behind us there? What's that for?
This is a leaf that we are using for the compost preparation. We have a compost house here. This is as a fertilizer. It helps the apple for fertilizer, and especially we selected this type of leaf because it easily decomposes and used easily.
So they've grown here for several months. What happens next?
After it will just grow for 8 months to 1 year, it will distribute it to farmers. One farmer will take 6 apple seedlings, and it will grow up, and after 2 to 3 years it will give production. And if it is good, one apple tree will give about 125 kilogram in one production.
Wow, so these are the very, very first apples grown from the seedlings.
Sure, yes, it's the first production for this tree. It's almost 1 year since it has grown, so it's free from disease. And
I was going to say, they look very delicious. I'm dying to eat one, actually. They're very delicious and no sign of disease.
Yeah.
How do you manage to keep the disease off?
We use the windbreak. We also use the medicinal plants for protection from disease, to protect it from disease. And the fungicides also we use that. And so it looks good now.
When I began this journey, my mind was full of those heart-wrenching images of 20 years ago, of famine, death, and devastation. Yet I'm leaving Ethiopia with a totally different set of images. In place of drought, there's now water in abundance. Where there was starvation, there's now regular food. Where there was no hope for the future, there's healthcare and education. Where there was misery, there's now joy. Well, I've discovered the Ethiopian people are hardworking, courageous, generous, and full of faith. I've seen how committed they are to bringing lasting change and a better future for themselves and their children. They've also made the most of the ongoing support of agencies like World Vision. In fact, it's easy to think what any of us give to charity is just a tiny drop in a vast ocean of need. But this past week, I've seen how each one of these single drops, when used wisely, can have the most amazing rippling effect in the community. "20 years ago, the communities I've seen were in despair due to one of the gravest famines of the 20th century. But today, a resurrection has taken place. These wonderful people are facing their future with hope and joy. I've truly seen life after death."